Okay, I'm back, and as you can see, I got the cilantro in the background here, and let's add a couple of garlic cloves. And what we're going to do is we're going to bunch this up and mince it up really fine. Because okay, look at our I hope you can see that because it's really white on the screen, but it's all bubbles up here. So what we're going to do, as soon as it hits the top, we're going to turn it down to low. So now it's got enough heat in it that it's just going to bubble like that until it's done. And once you can see the rice down through, when all the bubbles are gone, you can see physically see the flat rice, and you can see little vents, the little holes that the bubbles come out of. That's when you're going to want to shut it, the burner off, or even remove it from the burner and put it on another cool burner. Because what's going to happen, it's going to steam all the rest of the way cooked. Now when I put it on the scale and I counted out the tablespoons, you don't have to have the scale to do that. You just count out the rice, wash the rice, count it out, 17. If you're going to make the rice, you'd use 17 tablespoons of rice, rinse it out in your bowl, drain off as much water as you can, and then add the, I think I said 30, add the amount of tablespoons of water to it. So you don't have to have the scale. That's what I'm doing it for. So if you don't have a scale, that's what you would do. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the garlic and just chop it up real coarsely right now. Watch your fingers. And then what you're going to do, you're going to push that into the cilantro, and then you're going to bunch the cilantro up, press down on it, bunch it up more, and try to compact it as much as possible. I mean, you're going to have little leaves popping out, you're going to pop it out everywhere, but now I got like a little package, right? And I'm going to take this back over to the thing because it's really hard to chop here, but what we're going to do is when you push that back down, do the best job you can. That's not going to be perfect, but just get in there and chop, chop. Watch your fingers. And the thing is, here's another technique you can use. Put your hand on top of the knife, and what you're going to do is you're going to see how I'm pivoting the knife. I hope you can see that. See how the knife's pivoting like that? It's in one spot. My hand's on it. Just chop, 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 chop. Make a visual spot on the cutting board where the tip of that cutting knife is not going to move from. It's okay if it slides around a little bit, but and then just go back and forth, and then square it. Chopping is basically holding the knife. Let the knife do the work. You're not chopping like this. This is the wrong way because you're putting all the effort right here. That's not where you want the effort. You want the effort in between here. So when you have your hand down, that all chopped up. Now I can see the rice on the bottom. Bubbles are starting to, yeah, you can see it on the screen too. See less bubbles. And there's another technique a lot of chefs use, is where they rock the knife. If you feel that's better for you, I particularly don't like it because it's like it's more of a it's usually you do it with bigger knives, but you can do it with small knives. So find out what works best for you, because sometimes everyone's into something different. So this is looking really good, as in minced. And if there's one or two leaves in there, I mean, this doesn't have to be perfect. See, I got a leaf right here that isn't that minced. But here's the general general consistency, right like that. Okay, and our rice is no longer bubbling that much, and it's nice and yellow. You can see the bay leaf right in the middle. I keep on wanting to say, like, you know, like a bailiff from a jail, or judge, jury, the bailiff with the bailiff, the bay leaf. So what you can do now is, since you're not seeing any, okay, we got one big bubble right there. We got a little bit of movement over here. Ouch! Over here we got. You can see any holes where you can see the bubbles at the bottom. So what you're going to want to do now is you can turn this off, and then you can let it steam for another 10 minutes. And what I'm going to do, because I can, I'm going to take the lid off, take the bay leaf out. See how nice and dark that is? That's like, we used to have a bay leaf tree, and we're going to move it around, and it's definitely, now what we're going to do is we're going to put the garlic and cilantro in. Mix it around so as it steams done. Now, troubleshooting. Okay, let's say you got this done, right? And 10 minutes is up, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna taste my rice, and it still tastes a little nutty, and it's not done all the way through. You can add about 4 tablespoons of water to it. Bring it back to boil. This is just in case. Bring it back to a boil, and watch the fishes again. It'll boil up. Let's see. Let me do some calculation here. I would recommend about 4 to 6 tablespoons, because let's actually look at what that looks like. So I'm not, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, let's dump that out. So that's about under a half a cup of liquid. And the thing is, don't ever, if it's nutty and you're like, well, it didn't turn out right, put a half a cup, less than a half a cup of water in it. Bring it back to a boil. Watch the fissures, you know, it's going to start bubbling again, and then turn it off after you don't see any more bubbles. Now this time, the second time around, it's not going to go all the way to the top because you got less water in it. But watch the bubbles, turn it off, and let it simmer, steam again. So it's basically like you're starting it over again. But this is just in case that, you know, because, you know, everybody's scale's different, everyone scoops different. It's like one of those things, because the most important thing is when you watch a recipe or read a recipe, what they did was in their own space with their own oven and their own stove, which is completely different from what you're using. So you always got to pay attention to, oh, well, this recipe was designed and done in a completely different environment. Even though, you know, a stove is a stove is a stove, each stove has its own different personality. I made cookies over in the rec room one time, and it burnt at 325. It burnt the bottom of the cookie right off the bat. I'm like, oh, and I was shocked. I was like, okay. The burner is apparently up a little bit too high, so they're a little bit iffy on that. So always pay attention to what you're doing. So this is how to cook rice, and this is with cilantro and garlic, which, it smells so good. So this is very aromatic rice, and I'll put that on the thing. So kind of like slash aromatic. Can't see the word, but aromatic, and plain rice. Okay, toodles.